Hi, Pat. Good to see
Hi,
you.
Pat.
Hello. Hi, Pat. Hi.
We're just gonna start now. We kind of give a little extra time because we have a smaller crowd. I want to give people an opportunity. So
Everybody's home sleeping.
I wish I was too. I'm on vacation this week, so it's been kind of pleasant just to be at home. All right. So welcome to the February critique. This month's challenge was intimacy. Tonight we ended up getting 10 photos submitted. So we have everyone on the call that submitted one, with the exception of 3, but one's gonna be late, and I don't know if Alicia is coming on or not, but Sean's gonna be on a little bit later, and Carol had to depart early. She wasn't feeling her best. So we got 10 photos to go through tonight, so it should be pretty quick. Not like last month, we had 24. That was a long one. But
yeah, that was long.
So things that are upcoming in a couple weeks, on March 8th, we have our next monthly meeting. That's going to be at RPAC. For that meeting, it'll be at 6:30 is arrival time. We'll probably start between 7 and 7:15. The program, it's going to be on composition. So I'll be doing a little presentation on composition. So please bring questions. If you have input that you like to present also, feel free, come on up, relieve me of having to speak. I don't know if everyone wants to listen to me all night long. So, but we'll be doing that at RPAC, and that'll be around 7 o'clock start time. For next month, most important thing, what's our next challenge? For the month of March, our challenge is going to be the color green. This is a little bit different than the intimacy. Hopefully it gets a little bit more participation. So please take that, and over the next 30 days, try to capture that, and we'll be meeting on Zoom in about 4 weeks. Let's see. Milky Way outing. Unfortunately, we had to cancel that event. We would like to try to do it again at some point in time. I know Scott's going through some things. He posted on Facebook the other day. So he might not, won't be able to do it this past weekend like we anticipated, but again, it's just the start of Milky Way season, so hopefully we can get out and get a chance to reschedule that event so everyone has an opportunity to try that out if they've never done it before, or if they've done it before in season vet and they want to just come out and share some of their experience and some knowledge. That'd be awesome too. So this month we got 2 new members. We got Marie Sapienza. I'm sorry, I'm terrible at pronouncing names, so correct me if I'm wrong, Marie.
Sapienza, perfect.
Nailed it. All right, good. 1 for 1. Now here's another one. I can't pronounce Emily's last name, so Deb, could you help me with that one? Is it Talpin?
It's Talpin.
Okay, I'm 2 for 2. So Emily Talpin, both of them come from the Seacoast Camera Club. So again, we've been doing a lot of crossover, trying to work with them a little bit and offer our members some more stuff. So it's great to see some of them coming and joining the Greater-Rochester-Camera-Club. And I hope to have more come and join so we can all enjoy it and have a good time and share some of our knowledge and what each group does. So it gives people an opportunity to try new things. If everyone was on tonight, I was going to have her speak a little bit on the Seacoast Camera Club for anyone that wanted to know more. But I don't see her on the call, so maybe another time. But she would like to come to a meeting at some point in time, so we'll see her soon. And so that's all I really had for housekeeping. Lisa, do we have anything else that we need to bring up? Because I think we did a lot. We did a big housekeeping last 2 meetings. So yeah. We'll keep reminding about people of the summer shows, but that is going to be coming up. That's our big event for the summer in July. So more to come on, or if you have any questions on that, please feel free to reach out to me or any of the leadership team, and we can get you the information you're looking for. So, well, like I said, tonight we have 10 images. We like to do a 5-minute timer for each image. So I'm going to get this up, my timer up, so I don't have Scott here tonight. I'm going to set this for 5 minutes. Excellent.
Oh, here come the Morses.
Oh, here come the Morses.
There they are.
Excellent.
Do you want me to do the timer, Jared?
That's up to you, Lisa. If you want to do the timer, I can do it. I got it ready to go right here now. So
yeah, I'm assuming I just push start, right? Cancel. That's like pretty easy to do. I can handle that.
All right. So you're in charge of the timer tonight?
I can handle that.
what we're
That
gonna
should be
do
fairly
here.
easy to do.
So I'm gonna do my screen share now. Click desktop and we're gonna share. Can everyone see my background in my desktop?
Yep.
All right, we're better than we did last time because last time I hadn't updated it and I canceled the call on everyone. So far, so good. So, all right, let's get into it. So intimacy. Our first photo tonight is going to be from Carol Martin. And so baby feet. So what does everyone think of Carol's photo?
She was pretty funny when she said that she did it. She said she realized it was the same as the one that's on the Facebook page and didn't realize it was the same.
It's beautiful. It's perfect.
Yep.
I think it meets the criteria perfectly.
It is. It's very intimate.
Yep, crispness of the feet and then the softness all around it. Yeah.
It must be a vignette around it. I'm thinking, yeah, it is.
A white vignette, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a white vignette. I'm not a huge fan, but it does do a pretty decent job with this photo.
Yeah.
I don't like white vignettes in general, but seeing it on this photo, I think it really does well, especially with that the blanket or whatever the baby's feet are on. It does a nice little added touch to the photo.
Yep.
And her depth of field is awesome, spot on.
Yeah. All right.
Is this being recorded?
Yes. Oh, did I hit the record button?
No, I don't know. Did you say that?
Yes, it
I
is
got it.
recorded.
Oh,
Okay.
it is. Okay. I was gonna say, I thought it was. But no, I think this is nice. I love the little composition. The foot placement's really, really nice.
It's the kind of photo you want to put in a baby book.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
great for that. Oh, yes.
Definitely.
Now, I have to ask a question because I'm using a cheap laptop that I just bought and the color could be totally off. The composition is just beautiful. It's just perfect. And I love the depth of field and the vignette. But my question is from on my screen, the baby looks cold because the feet look a little blue. Is it me?
No,
No.
actually, you're right.
They do look a little like purpley dark pink color for sure.
I think that would be my only criticism is maybe because I mean I think the color of the fleece or look, maybe it's mohair, I'm not sure, that looks spot on, but
Mhm.
if the feet could be warmed up a little, I'd feel better looking at it.
Well, that's the good news with this is we can come in and we can play a little bit, see what we can do. So one thing with this one, I would try to see if we could do select the subject and see if it does right there, selects the feet pretty well. You could come through and hold on, let me move this window over to here. We could warm up these feet a little bit and make it's hard because when you do the temperature slider here, if you go too far, see how they start to turn yellowish? You don't want that. But you could tone the temperature and
If you brightened it up and took the vibrance down a little, maybe.
yeah. Right, and just add a little, let's see, let's try some highlights or some lights. Move the whites up a little bit. Oh yeah, if we move the whites up a little bit.
But yeah, clearly it would take a little bit of work to.
Yeah, a little finessing, but you could, so with the select the subject, you could really focus on the feet, and then you could start to play with. If you did it in Photoshop, I think you'd be a lot more accurate. You could select the subject, and then you could really start to play with the vibrance and then the color toning. But even with Lightroom, you can still make adjustments to make that skin tone a little bit less, as you said, cold. Because I agree that baby's feet do look kind of chilled in this photo.
Yeah.
But
When you
then
pointed
again,
it out, you definitely could see it, that they were
Yeah.
a little bit, yeah. In all the creases, there was a little bit of blue.
but even just like this little bit before, after, and that was something quick, and then you could really fine tune it and get some of the other color selections in here. It makes it look a little bit warmer. Although you gotta be careful, like when I did it, so I showed it, it stopped here. You'd also want to start to include some of the babies like here, because if this color doesn't match that, it'll stick out too. So
Well, also the leg on the bottom
yep,
wasn't part of that selection and it would have to be.
right. So right now the red section's there. So you could come in. I think I talked about the other night during the Lightroom tutorial, but we could do a whole session on selections. But you could take the brush and you could either brush it in the area you wanted, or you could add in, and then where is it? Select a subject, you can click in here, or you can click on it too. The other way you can do it. Hold on. Try this again. Add object, and then you could select the leg, and nope. You could. It sometimes it does a little bit better. Let's try this. We'll make it a little bit bigger this time. Select the object. Make this a little bit larger. It may grab more. See, it grabbed more of the leg there, and then you could add another one. Select object and click up here somewhere, and you start to grab it, and then it would take a little bit of fine tune. You might want to do 2 selections because the tones are different here than there, but it's definitely possible to do that.
We hit the 5-minute mark.
All right.
Did you try doing this in black and white?
Oh, to see, yeah.
We can take a quick peek at that. Let's see. We just do a quick transit. Ooh. Yeah, that, and then play with the contrast a little bit.
Yep.
Again, I think you'd want to adjust try to maybe do the color correction and then convert to black and white, because then that way this wouldn't be so deep colored. But you could definitely do some warming effects, and then you could play with it, play with the exposure, and then you could get some really nice contrast, because with this white, there's so much detail in here, especially if you increase your contrast throughout the image, not just globally, but a little bit more fine tuning with the adjustment curve here. You could definitely bring it out and do different areas. Or Silver Effects Pro would be, if you have the Nik collection, that would be a great option too. If you use the Nik software, you could really convert black and white, and it would do a great job too. So,
And
no,
there's,
black and white would be good.
I'm sorry, there's one other thing I would have done is that little spot on the leg. I would have cleaned that up.
That one right there.
Yeah, because it just kind of sticks out. Even in black and white, I noticed that. But those are little things that I would have done. It's not necessary for everyone, but
Yep. No, I agree. I saw that too. I saw a little nick right here. If you watch when I go to after, I just really quick just get rid of that. And I thought I saw a spot up here, but it was just actually a water droplet on my screen. So. Hey, does anybody have anything else for Carol? All right, Carol, I know you're not on the call, but great photo. I love it. Great subject matter. Next up, we got Mr. Kramer. What does everyone think of Mr. Kramer's intimacy photo?
Oh, I love this, Ben. Is that you writing?
Yeah.
When did you
No,
take
it's
that
not
photo,
very good.
Ben?
What's that?
I think
When did
that's
you take
beautiful.
this photo?
I took this in the lobby during the last camera club meeting.
Very meta.
was-
I like it.
Is that on your phone?
No, that's with my Nikon.
Did you set up a tripod with it?
Yes. Tripod with remote triggering from my phone.
Got it. Very nice.
The lighting on this is so elegant. It's well placed. I love the shadows, but even with the shadows, like you see all this detail in the hand. It's beautifully lit.
Yeah, I did very little editing on it. I considered trying to take out some. So the lighting situation is there's a lamp on the little table in the lobby, but I also added my little LED panel with an oranger light. So it's kind of a weird blue and orange mixed lighting situation, which you can see up in the, like up near the top of the pen in the,
Mhm.
in that bit. And I considered trying to remove that color cast, but one, it would have just looked weird trying to do it. And two, I think it just adds a little something extra there.
Yeah, it gives it sort of a warm tone to it. It works.
Yeah, it's a
but
good
yeah.
contrast. It's a good contrast in the lighting. It doesn't really, it's not distracting. It's kind of, your shadows are typically bluer anyway, so you can definitely get away with that a little bit right there too.
Yeah. Originally, I was trying to do a version of this that was entirely the reflection of this in the window, but turns out it's double pane glass and you just get a double reflection, which just looks really terrible, honestly. So I reframed against that. And the other fun fact about this is the red and yellowish bars in the back are actually passing car.
I was wondering what that was.
I was just,
Yeah. That's cool that they're cars.
The only thing I would think is I would possibly try to just do a change in the background, because this is a very strong horizontal, which kind of distracts me a little bit, but that was my thought. Try a different background or something like that, or just try to blend it a little bit.
Yeah, and
I don't know how to go.
the reflection in the window up above the lights from the car looks very pixelated.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that's from. I don't know if that's Lightroom or just the fact that it's on a video call. I don't know if that's a
Yeah, it could be my
compression thing.
could be my laptop, no idea. Just from here, that's the only part of the photo that looks overly pixelated. The rest of it's nice and smooth and sharp where it should be, but that kind of sticks out.
Yeah.
What about cropping it down a little bit from the top?
Let's take a look here.
That could get rid
Yeah,
of part of
Go for
it.
it. I'm also curious to see what it looks like at 100% just on the screen there.
Oh yeah, we're not at 100%, are we?
Oh yeah, that helps a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe just a little bit down where the black is, just bring it down just a little bit more to hide.
I'm afraid if I go too low though, this pen
yeah.
gets put into a weird position.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
I really liked it before, where it's really on this 1/3 for the rule of thirds. It's a really great placement of that, and I think if you pull it down, but if we try to lock this and maybe
Yeah, you lose the light bot, you lose the
yeah,
ink bottles
You
if you do that.
yeah,
Nope.
I think the original crop is a good crop. I mean, there's other ways to deal with pixelation.
yep.
Yeah.
I am curious to see if it's what that would look like up at the top at 100%.
At 100%. Yeah.
Oh. Huh, I
Yeah,
wonder if it's
that's
something
video
to do with,
compression.
I think it's video compression because it's clear as day on mine, and I don't see the pixelation. It's very soft bokeh in back here. For me, it's very smooth on my screen. But again, I'm also looking at it directly here. I think if you had it on your screen, you would see that it's not as like pixelated for sure.
My screen does not look pixelated. And I don't know, when I saw this, my hand goes directly to the hand and the background didn't bother me at all. It was, sometimes we just tune things out and that wasn't important and it worked.
Ben, this is really nitpicky, but down on the glass, you've got two little white spots where the liquid is.
Right here.
To the right there. Yep.
So that looks like a specular highlight coming off of that piece of that glass.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a thing I thought about editing out.
My eye is
But I don't
going
know.
there, but it's also bouncing back to the hand first as well. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah,
It's one of those things where I try to strike a balance between over editing and, leaving in reality.
Yep.
It's weird too, because sometimes it's nice to have these, in my opinion, the specular spots, because it's a reflective plastic, it's glass. I mean, glass and metals are going to have these specular highlights. So if you remove all of them, then it doesn't look realistic. Because like what Ben was saying, it is the strongest one, so that's that one where to go. You still have others which are helpful,
Mhm.
and it creates that dimension in the glass or the plastic too. So I think you could go either way with it, and it would be up to the artist on that one, because I think you could work it either way.
There's a similar situation on the ink bottle. There's a couple of really big,
Right
bright
here, yeah.
highlights on that. But those also, give it dimension, and that it tells you that, oh yeah, there's light sources there.
Mhm.
You did a great job with this wood grain too.
Yeah.
I think that's really nicely lit. It's beautiful. It shows all the textures in there, and just where it drops off in the foreground and then tech sharp and then drops off again. It's a really good choice of depth of field.
Thank you.
timer went off a while ago.
All right,
It was a
does
fun
anyone have
shoot.
any-
but-
that was
Oh.
I love this shot. I remember when you showed it to me on the other night. I was like, I love this.
I didn't even see you sitting out there doing it when you would. It's funny.
That's because you were super focused on Jared's
Yeah.
amazing presentation.
Thank you.
Can I also just tell you that I love that you walk around with an old style like parchment book and an ink bottle and an inkwell pen?
Yeah, that's totally what I do. I totally didn't pack my bag with certain items before going to the meeting.
Of course you didn't.
No.
You are an artist 100% of the time, and I appreciate it.
Secret is my handwriting is terrible, and I'm primarily left-handed.
Well, great shot, Ben. Does anybody have any last comments for Ben before we go to the next one?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Very nice.
Well done.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we got Deb Belanger. What does everybody think of Deb's?
Oh, I love this one. I've taken pictures of that in Portsmouth myself, but not from that angle. This is perfect.
This is actually an overlay. I took a lot of different photos of it. I tried to blur the background. I tried to take out the 2000 power lines that were back there. And I just couldn't get the feeling that I was looking for. So I put it away for a night and I came back the next night and was like, you know what? So I converted it to black and white and I thought, I'm gonna try an overlay, and I cropped it up. And for me, I think it gave the feeling that I was looking for, but that's just my choice. And I've been working a lot with overlays anyway, so it was it was just an opportunity to play with the overlays as well. But you could see part of the statues in the back, and actually I can see a couple of the power lines, but with the overlay, it kind of blended in. And you can see the house right there, and there's some windows.
Oh, like right here. And,
Yep.
Okay, now
Yep.
I didn't even notice that. I thought that was all part of the overlay. I thought it was something like you changed the entire background out.
No, it's not a change out, and you can see this, the
There's a
statues to
person
the
here.
left. Yep.
Yep.
Yep, and it's the opacity that you use to figure out how much of it you want to put there, but
Mhm.
that's all I had for this challenge.
I like the composition.
I love it.
With this one, like the instinct would be to shoot it, straight on from the side, so you see, an equal amount of both of them. But I think, giving it that angle and putting the putting the center line where you did, I think works really well.
Yeah, because a lot of people would shoot this vertically or portrait style right at the thing, like you were saying, Ben, and then you wouldn't see as I like the fact that it kind of creates a little mystery with the man, where you can see her expression, but you really can't see his, right? So it brings into more that storytelling element of the photograph, and it's not just a straight on image that I think most people would shoot if they photograph this.
Very nice, Deb.
Yes.
If I had done it, I would have focused more closely on the hands. It would have a much closer shot, but this is great.
Take a look here. Oh, it's just the file size. I'm gonna see if we can zoom in a little bit, but
yeah, I'm not saying you need to crop it. I'm just, you know,
no,
that's what I would have done.
Be curious.
That's where
to
I
see
would have
what it looks
focused.
like though.
Are you saying like crop down just to like the hand section or something like this? Same kind
Yeah.
of composition.
But like even closer.
Down in here. And we'll try to
Yeah,
maintain the
something like
same
that.
composition.
I probably would have put the hands dead center, but
Dead center.
Yeah.
just because that gives you the focus on the, you know, the way the fingers are spreading towards each other. That's just, you know, where I would have shot it at.
Let's just reset it.
But yeah, no, this is a good composition, a good shot.
One thing I would say with this overlay is I would try to I was almost wondering if it's a little too busy. But like I was looking at more of like a granular structure like the granite here. I'd be curious to see if you tried a different overlay too and see which one. I'm sure you played with a bunch of them, but I'd like to see other types of overlays on this and see which one I would be different if what it would look like.
And I could also change the opacity of it too, because a lot of what's coming through in the background, like I said, is I can see
Like all this
a
stuff
lot of
here,
the
yeah.
background. Yeah.
I never would have noticed that until you pointed out. I just thought it was part of the overlay.
Same.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah, you see the elements of the background because you're familiar with what it looked like before the overlay. The overlay, the entire background to me looks like it was a background replacement that almost had a bunch of like Photoshop brush work done. Like there's a lot of weird hard edges. Where I would have thought it'd be, you know, more like a texture like the granite or like some cement or something like that. It's interesting. I almost wonder if it's distracting because there's a lot of sharp edges and details in there that kind of pull the eye sometimes, I think.
Yeah, like this stuff up here, if it was softer, like transition smoother, without the hard edges like Ben was saying, I think that would be really, I think it would bring more impact to the actual the statue itself.
Yeah, I agree. I agree on the smoothness. I think that needs to change. I like the color because it kind of warms the picture up a little bit. It doesn't, because black and white granite in iron can be really cold, but I think the color of the background just kind of warms up the picture.
So you can
what else
probably
go back through the overlays and see what other ones that I have in the browns and the black and whites.
one thing you could do too is, do you have Photoshop, Deb?
I do. I'm not real well versed with Photoshop, but that's where I did it.
Yeah, you could do a selection of the background too, and then with the blurs, you could put like a Gaussian blur on here, and then you could, as you adjust the pixels, the higher the number, the more it's going to smooth it out, and you could play with that, and then you would just select the background, and then it would smooth out some of these edges and give it more of a bokeh kind of look too. But there's other types of blurs that work in there too that you could play with, and it would get rid of some of those if that's something you were interested in trying.
And when are you doing the Photoshop meeting?
I'm gonna call Sean on that one and he can help you with that. But I could show you how to do the selection and then where the blurs are found, and you could play with them.
Well, and Deb, did you actually do a separate layer for the background? Because if you did a separate layer for the background, you can actually take the background and blur it before you put your picture in it.
Oh, you know what? Yes. So I did partly do that in Lightroom. So I did
Okay.
bring down the texture. I did bring down the clarity. I did the selection for the subject, and I had to play with that a little bit, but I did bring it down a little bit. But I could go back into, I suppose I could try going back into Lightroom and see if I can blur out more of that background and see how that may or may not work. Like I said, I am not real familiar with, I'm not well versed with Photoshop, but I'd like to learn more about it.
Well, that's exactly what these are for. They're challenges, right? And I think you really did challenge yourself with something new here, which is creative in a lot of ways, and it's only going to make you better, which is awesome that you did that.
Absolutely. I appreciate all the feedback on it.
But I do love the composition. I think it's a great shot.
Timer went off. I'm letting everybody go way over. I'm not saying anything. I'm just letting them talk.
I think we have
That's
the
a-
time tonight.
Yeah, it's.
I mean,
we don't have
I'm
a strict time on it.
doing the timer. I'm just not saying anything when it goes off.
Nope. Appreciate that. You're gonna keep me on track, but we got 10 photos tonight, so we could take a little bit more time with
Yep,
these. So
that's what I
that's gonna be
figure. I'm
good.
not gonna
We can have an
shift.
intimate conversation about the intimate photos.
Yeah. Yep. I
right, I'll
won't
stop
shut
being
anybody off.
All right. Any last ones for Deb?
Definitely gonna try working on the hands, Ben.
I mean, do what you please. You don't have to reshoot it or anything.
The more I'm thinking about it, the more I actually kind of like that.
If
feel
you're
like-
gonna do that, I would reshoot it.
Yeah.
Because if you're cropping that far down, you're gonna lose a lot.
Yes.
I think though, for this topic of intimacy, I think that the hands are important, but the whole image, the image as a whole is more important with the hands in it. I don't know how you can really make those show up first, but that's what makes it intimate. But
I agree.
I think that for intimacy, just
Mhm.
seeing the hands, they'd make a good composition on their own, but I don't know if that would say intimacy the same way as this does, because you're looking at the faces, you're looking at the block in between, you're seeing a whole story to do with it.
This photo without the hands in it would tell a completely different story.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love it, and I think there's a lot of great ways you could shoot this. And I would try. I kind of want to go down and try to shoot something, try to photograph this in a different way too, because I think it would be very creative, and you could definitely try it in different approaches. So,
And when you figure out how to get rid of the power lines, let us know.
I could try.
Hey, winter storm's coming.
There you go. That's true.
Bite your
We need
tongue.
we need some heavy fog. But, well, great shot, Deb. I love it. Nice job, and way to challenge yourself.
Thank you.
So next up, we have Amanda. And it looks like a little compass. What does everybody think?
Probably all wondering why on earth I submitted this for intimacy.
Let's hear the
I mean, I
background
would-
Tell us
story.
the story.
I would have to wonder what's in that. Like that's a locket, and there's probably something important in there.
Yeah.
The same thing that is underneath it is what's inside it.
Ashes.
Ashes.
Yes. Back in 2017, lost someone unexpectedly, very dear to my husband and I. And we were with him in the hospital room at the end before he was taken off life support. And his wife gave me some of his ashes to put in necklaces for my husband and I. So that is the one that I wear just about every day of my life. And I had some trouble with this challenge, and when I kept rereading the definitions that were posted on the image on the Facebook page. One of them was, you know, familiarity, keeping someone close to your heart, basically. And so I sort of took that figuratively and literally because I physically keep them close to my heart every day. So this was what I went with.
Nice.
Very nice. Did you shoot this in the palm of your hand?
I
Or
sure
someone's
did.
hand? I was gonna say, because it looked like that's what the background was, which is even brings another element into it.
Yep.
Yep. So I will confess this was very last minute, like very, very last minute. But yeah, still enjoying learning my way around my macro lens and liked how it came out. And something I've never noticed before until I was editing this is that I never knew that you could actually see some of the ashes inside the necklace until I was looking at this picture, because to the naked eye, I can't see them.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah, that's glass, clear, well, clear, whatever it is, but yeah. Huh.
Hmm.
Very special.
I like the choice of black and white for this. It creates a little bit more simplicity into the image. So with the metal, the ashes, and then the tones of the skin, I think that might have taken away from the overall subject itself. So I think black and white was a good choice for this photo.
The composition
I don't know if
feels.
this,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
I was going to say the composition feels a little odd, but also still works.
I like the composition, and I was going to add to that. I was wondering if it was intentional or not that the west to east line lines up with the hand lines.
Yeah, I
Oh,
see that now. That's nice.
Nope,
Go to
I will
across, yeah.
freely confess, now that you pointed out, I can see it, but nope, that was not intentional. Actually, I had my tripod set up, you know, with the camera facing straight down, obviously, and my arm through the legs of the tripod, my left arm underneath the lens because I'm a righty, and I was contorting myself into some very interesting shapes and positions. I'm actually having surgery on my left shoulder next week. So I was trying to like turn my hand straighter to get, you know, the composition sort of more of a straight shot on with the north facing to the top of the photo, and it was not going to happen. So I did tinker around with straightening out a little bit in Lightroom, but then at the end of the day, I actually kind of liked it with it not being straight dead on.
I agree. I'm not a huge fan of straight center compositions, or like I like the fact that this is kind of offset a little bit, right? Because that might be north. I don't, and that's something that you might not initially try to do, but if it was straight up and down, I think it would make the image less impactful. I think it's more poor choice of words, but boring if it was straight up and down. I think being off a little bit is actually helpful for this.
Yeah, even having that compass rose directly in the center or something like that would honestly be, I feel like it would be distractingly centered.
Yeah. One thing I'd say too, like again, these are the things that you look for is like this little dust spot up here.
Oh,
Stuff like
okay.
that. You want to,
Yep.
you want to remove things like that because they will catch your eye, especially when they're really dark. And what did you shoot? What was do you remember what the settings were for it? What you shot this at?
Oh, good heavens, no.
It's up at the
I think you did.
navigator. It looks like ISO 400.
Yeah, at
Yeah, I want to say
eighth of a second.
Yeah, I want to say the ISO was 400. The shutter speed was fairly low. The macro lens that I have doesn't communicate with the camera, for lack of a better term. So all of the
Yeah. F-stop information
help
will
me.
be
Yes,
present.
thank you. No,
Yeah,
I was looking
the
for a different
metadata
word,
doesn't
but
say.
yeah, I can't set that on the camera when I'm using this lens. It's all done in lens. So I couldn't
Okay.
begin to tell you what f-stop it was at.
Nope, I get that. So I had a lens like that before too. It's frustrating because you're like, what did I shoot this at again? You don't remember.
It's not important anyways.
Nope, it's not. I like the depth of field. I think you did a good job because even with this is a very small trinket, really, when you think
Mhm.
about it, right? And then this is nice and sharp in here, and then this just drops off. But you have enough detail in here to understand what it is, so it's not like, oh, what is that muddy background? You can still tell that these are the ashes, which is really, really nice. And again, shooting metal is super challenging. So if you're gonna try to do it by yourself, see if you can have a friend hold it, because then you can really fine tune your adjustments, right? And then you can use their hand as a prop to help out too. So that way you're not moving around as much. That's something you could consider too.
Yeah, again, this was pretty off the cuff, but yeah, trying to do all my settings and stuff with one hand was a different kind of challenge to go along with this challenge.
Hey, you tried it, you did something different, and you challenge yourself. That's the important thing with these little critiques that we do each month. So I
Oh.
bravo you to that. Nice job.
I might be
Yep.
doing all that for the next challenge if I'm in a sling for all next month, so practice makes perfect.
Well, I hope it's a quick recovery for you.
Me too.
The
Well,
timer went off.
if you ever want help shooting something, just speak up. I'm sure someone here in the group would be happy to jump in.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Any opportunity to go out and shoot, I'm sure someone will take advantage of it. So. All right. Does anybody have anything else for Amanda? Okay.
Very nice.
So very nice. So next up we have Alicia. And Alicia's not on the call tonight, but this is the photo she submitted. What's everybody think?
I love the matching outfits and the matching smiles.
Yeah.
Who has the bigger smile? I don't know. That cup's got a big one.
The lighting looks really good on this.
Oh, she did a nice job with the lighting, and even with the background, it's not blown out, so it doesn't. It is bright, but it doesn't take my eye away if it was blown all the way out. Like if snow is like the hardest thing to photograph.
Mhm.
And I like that the dog is more in focus because her shirt actually says, "My dog is my Valentine." So I think she's not as in focus as the dog. And I think that's okay because of what the shirt says.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would maybe take the highlights down just a little bit, at least on the left side.
Let's take a look. See here.
Just
Just on the background,
white
you're saying?
white shirt against snow with a beige colored dog. It's just it's very, very light, especially on the left side where the sun's hitting all that snow and hitting the side of the dog's face. Yeah.
Yep. So if anyone who was just curious of what I just did there, I selected the masking tool, and then when I created the mask, I just said select background in Lightroom. So all the red's gonna be affected. So if we want to just pull down the highlights, the background a little bit, we're not affecting the actual subjects here. So we could tone these down, and then it won't be as bright. And you can even
I
pull
feel
the
like leaving
exposure
them bright
down.
is fine and appropriate because you expect, you see snow back there and you expect it to be brighter.
Yep. Yeah, I
Yeah.
kind of like it better with it brighter. I think if you pull it down too far, it doesn't.
It looks
doesn't-
unnatural.
It
It
does
does
look
look
very
unnatural.
But I think if you pull them down a little bit, you could bring a little bit more attention. But again, yeah, like Ben was saying, you don't want to go too far because then it will look unnatural.
No, and again, it could just be my computer screen. It looks like the left side of the dog's face is just a little bit blurred out because of how bright the snow in the background is, but that could just be me.
Yeah, but you mean because it kind of almost falls in this section right here. It kind of like falls right into that. They don't really. It doesn't stand out as much. But that's hard to do with the pup's face matching. It's pretty bright out there. Let's just see. Yeah, no, I don't like that. Don't want to do that. No, it's a very nice little social candid of her and the dog. I think it's definitely a very, you could tell that her and the relationship between her and the dog is a very intimate one and very nice. They have great friendship. Obviously, the dog's the Valentine, so but it's a nice little social candid.
Definitely has the catch light in the dog's eyes too.
Mm-hmm. Photographing glass is always challenging too, because you get this, she's got, obviously with the glasses, she has some sort of layer put on top of her glass for anti-reflection, and that's why you see this like purplish casting in here.
Oh, is
So
that
you-
what that is?
Yeah, so what it is the filament or something that they put on top of the lens to prevent like, so for my glasses I put on there, it's an anti-reflective stuff, so I don't get the reflections in my glasses. So that's what that coating, that's what it's coating on the lens. So you can correct that in Photoshop or even in Lightroom by selecting the lens, and then you can go in and adjust some of the color cast and get rid of a little bit of that purple in there, because that, I find that a little distracting. But whenever you shoot someone wearing glasses, you have, that is a problem that's fairly common, especially with people with anyone who wears glasses. They usually have some sort of coating on them, so you could go in and remove that. I'm not good at it, so I won't try.
Yeah, there's also the distortion of edge of the face
Mhm.
in glasses. Yeah, like honestly, like the only way to really deal with that is to use glasses without lenses in them, but sometimes that doesn't even look natural.
Nope.
Uh,
By the
So
distortion,
glasses are just annoying.
so, and that's why it's like, really, if you're shooting your self-portrait when you have glasses, you really don't see this until afterwards. But you can, if someone's taking your photograph, they may just slightly reposition your head, because this is where the glass is thickest, and that's what's causing this distortion here on the right side of her face. But you can correct some of that by just changing their position that they're in the camera, or the way the direction they're looking at the camera. But then it may kind of change your look too. So, but
Overall,
glasses are always hard.
Over all the years, I've known about reflections, but I've never ever seen the distortion. This is the first
This
time I
one-
noticed it since you pointed it out.
Yeah.
This one, you could definitely see it right here. I've taken photographs and seen it pretty bad before too. So it is a lot about positioning.
It all depends on the prescription and the angle. If
Mhm.
looking straight on, you probably wouldn't have that kind of issue. The edge of it would, you'd have the sides of the face and the hair and things like that, where it just kind of would blend together. But yeah, with that turn and with a thick prescription like what I've got, yeah, that
Me
would,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, the thicker the lens, the more you're going to see some distortion. So, yep, good call, a good catch. I didn't notice that until you said it, Ben. And I saw that, now I see it. So it's a good one.
And ultimately, that's just either a decision or a discussion on whether or not to edit and correct that.
Timer went off.
All right. Does anybody have anything else for Alicia? All right, Alicia, when you see this, great little social candidate. I love it. All right, next up is my photo. Be nice.
Oh, you're making a frame, aren't you?
I did. So I took this 2 nights ago in my basement. I made a walnut picture frame. It's 42 by 28 inlet. So I wanted to kind of show the wood grain and how to really make it pop. So I kind of, it's almost more of a product shot than it is an intimate shot, but I like the process of it. I find that this is just a very intimate time for me to go down and make a picture frame and stain it.
I'd say the intimacy of the process of doing the work, I think it comes through. I think if it was less focused on the paint or the finish can and more on
Yes.
you doing it, I think that might be more interesting.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
think what's throwing me is I understand the intimacy aspect for you, but my eye keeps going to the nails on the frame, and I know that your framing doesn't show those, and I don't know, it kind of bothers me because that's not what I see it turning out as.
You mean these right here, the back side of the frame?
Yeah,
I think I
And
could have
that's-
got rid of that if I shot the other side of the frame.
because that's where my eye comes in there, and it gets stuck on those little on the nails holding it, and yet the beauty of the wood is what I want to see as I go in and then get to the can and the story.
Mhm.
And that's the knit that I see.
Totally see that. Yep.
But I love the wood grain and the way that you got all of that.
Lighting is good.
I like it. It definitely shows. As soon as I saw that, Jared, it's like, oh yeah, Jared is very intimate with his wood frames and
I had tried a couple different things with hand placement and getting it in there, and I just had so much struggle and difficulty that I was like, all right, this is the best one I've done so far, so I'm taking this. I am not, well, I am the landscape guy or the nature and wildlife guy, so
Right.
shooting something like this is always love hearing input on what could be improved because it's not my normal forte.
Kind of like still life.
Oh God, you're gonna bring that up the rest of the time we are.
Yeah.
What's interesting is the color palette that you have, because the frame, the color of the walnut and the can, everything is all it all matches.
Thank you.
I mean, it all fits together. I don't mean to say matches.
No, I agree. I tried to do that because I use a blue drop cloth, so it actually kind of worked out all right because it's not over the top. So that's one of the reasons why I did that. Things that I noticed after I processed this is I wish I had taken the time to done the other side because, like you said, Pat, the nails, it's not the nice side of the frame, right? But
Yeah.
I would have done a little bit more attention to making sure that this was actually a very nice, and these streaks were here, and then like this blob right here, where it was a little bit of run over on the side. I would have gotten rid of that if I had if I were to retake this again.
I would honestly, I would rather see that can just off in the background, blurred out, and the intimacy of making the frame. I would like to see the focus on the nails and on that blob, on the little mistakes and on the little details that actually make up the frame.
Different perspective. I like that. I never even considered that.
But
That's a
I
great idea.
honestly, I also like thinking about you doing this process. I have a completely different image in my head now that is entirely not this, but this is your work. So yeah, I think the focus could have been on, those little things that are in the intimate details of the frame that you don't see.
I agree. All right. Does anybody have anything else for me? Oh God, I got out early. I got out
But it's
easy this
easy.
time
How come you cut yourself right off at 5 minutes?
I know. Well, it
because I'm the
definitely,
host.
it definitely says Jared all over it.
Yeah, he cut himself right off. We didn't go over
Yeah,
it all.
don't you worry. I'm the host. I get to choose how long my photo stays up.
So
But thank you guys for the input. I will take that into consideration, and I'm going to be doing another frame soon, so I'll try something different next time. All right. So next up, we have Lisa. Look at those shoes. I love them. What does everyone think of this photo?
It screams Lisa.
It screams Lisa.
It does. The shoes and yeah.
Hmm.
I just think of those shoes that you had hanging the first show when you
Oh, my Converse sneakers. These actually are Converse sneakers too.
and then when we went
look like them.
when we went to the island and there were all those sneakers there too.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So I was in New York City over the weekend, visiting, delivering my picture for my for the storytelling show. And we were walking through Central Park and we came across the two brides walking down a path, going to have their picture taken, formal pictures taken. And I do have a couple of shots of them face on, but I liked this one because I liked the shoes. I loved the shoes. I think the shoes just told it all.
I really adore her expression, because
Yes.
that right there is what I'm looking at, because she's looking directly at her partner, and I think that's awesome. I think
Yep.
I think her expression is spot on. I love it.
If you look at her partner's face, you can see her partner's face through the veil too. And she has the biggest smile on her face too.
Yeah, I can see her big grin right here. Yep.
Yep.
Definitely.
Yep. I mean, it was a pretty dramatic picture of the two of them. Just, yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, the moment
People
is
were
great.
just-
The details of the shoe are great. I think the only thing I would do with this is a little bit of straightening and maybe consider a little bit of black background blur, but not just a little bit, not enough to.
I did straighten it. It is straightened from when I took it. Yeah, definitely was straightened. So I don't know if it didn't straighten it right, but and I don't know how to add
maybe
back.
it just wasn't enough, but
Yeah, I don't know how to
it-
add background blur.
yeah.
I mean, other than with the camera. And I wasn't, because I wasn't really expected to shoot this, so it was at, I think it was at
Yeah.
like F8, F9. I think is
So,
what I
yeah.
was at.
The
And doing
challenge is- yeah. Go ahead.
doing
Go
the
ahead, Ben.
background blur well can be challenging. You
Mm.
know, separating from your subject and also not affecting everything the same amount. You got to have, a gradient to really give the impression of depth.
Yeah,
you
it was at
would have to
F8
come.
was what I took it at.
No,
Yeah.
F8's a great. I think you get the right focus on that. It's just because when you're at F8 and these elements aren't, if it's further back,
Yeah.
it would be better. But no, it's also challenging too. Like Ben was saying, like you could do the blur in Photoshop. That would be the one to use it with. You would just select your background, and then you could choose a blur, and then that would, like he said, you would want to make sure that this is sharper than this,
Right.
and this is sharper than that, which is challenging. You have to do it in layers, but it is possible.
Yeah, there was one show that I did and Don Chick said that. He said, oh, or maybe it was Sean no, it was Don Chick. Said, oh, all you gotta do is go into Photoshop and it's really easy to do. I looked at going into Photoshop and doing it and I went, there is no way in heck I'm gonna figure out how to do this. So I
Well,
didn't.
the good news-
Doing it in Photoshop and doing it in Photoshop in a way that isn't going to completely give away the fact that you did it are two very different things.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
As I said, this was totally unexpected. I really didn't, I just wanted the picture at that time. So I really wasn't even thinking about what my settings were at, other than were they gonna be clear on the subjects? So that I wasn't even really, in
Yeah.
all honesty. So that was
It
kind
is-
of one of my thoughts is I gotta find an intimate picture while I'm walking around New York City.
Yeah.
And
It's
I-
definitely a great moment and good framing.
Yeah, they were definitely happy. And as I said, I just think the sneakers made it. Because that
Oh,
told a
yeah.
lot about the story right there.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you were able to find an intimate moment in Central Park, which is always notoriously full of people. And I like that you left all the people that are in the background, and that just shows how clearly these two only have eyes for each other.
Right, I did, whoever was it, Jared, you were trying to get rid of him? I tried to get
He's
rid of
the-
him. I could not
He
get
is
rid of
the
him.
he
I
is the
did try.
he's the only guy I don't like. I do
Yep.
like these two people who are just observing and
Correct.
taking in their special moment. He
Yep.
is the only one that I'm not
Yep.
a fan of. His photo
Yep.
bomb.
Yeah, he's a little distracting and honestly kind of reminds me of Tony Stark from Avengers, and that's a
Yeah.
little distracting, but
No, I did, Amanda, try to get rid of him. I really did. But the other two I left purposely because they were both staring at this couple.
mhm.
And that's and I like that because that it's a good balance too, because you have two people here, the two people here, and again they're out of focus, but you can also understand they're looking at the same scene you're looking at, but they're looking at her face where you're looking at her face. So him is the only one I didn't really care for,
Yeah.
but even these people in the back look like they're watching you photograph
Yep.
way out back here.
Well, there were, I think there were like 3 photographers there taking pictures, you know, I'm sure they were their photographers taking
Mhm.
pictures of the two of them. And me and my friend Chris were trying to stay out of the way, but get pictures too at the same time.
I love it. This is such a cool little photo. I like the expressions. I love the position you put him in. It's an awesome shot.
Yeah. Thanks. And I can cut me off now because my timer went off.
Oh no, we got another 5 minutes for you.
Yeah. But I like your comment, Pat, that it's a Lisa picture. That's pretty funny.
But how you can get intimacy on a trip like that and get something like this that you never ever see any other time. I mean, just their expressions. I think you did really well with
Yep.
it.
Yep. It was very, very, very cool. I was glad I captured it.
All right. Well, Lisa wanted me to cut her off. So any last final comments for Lisa? All right. So
Thanks, everyone.
next up we got Maria. First time on the call. First
Can I
time submitting a
preface this?
photo. Yes, go right ahead.
Yeah. And may I preface this by saying this was more a measure of wanting to transition from lurker to participant than anything else. And then this is a picture I took with my iPhone just a couple days ago to throw something at this and appreciate whatever you guys have to offer.
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate you submitting on the first meeting. That's awesome. I love it. And this was with an iPhone?
Yes.
Oh wow. Well, this is nice. I like this. I love her little intuitive little thought process. She's looking at the bubbles coming out. That's so cute.
You can definitely see the connection there. That is adorable. That is really, I love it that you did it in a, what is it, like a sepia or a black and white tone?
Just black and white.
I love the positioning of her head as she's looking down. It's in a really nice spot. I like the composition of this.
Yeah.
I just want to know what's going on in her mind at this point when she's looking at it.
She's trying to gain an intimate understanding of what the heck is coming out of that thing's head.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
Yeah, she was working it. She was definitely working it.
Did you shoot this like with the portrait mode for the iPhone?
I think I was in portrait mode.
Yeah, because that's how I can see it a little bit too, because it blurred out this area. It really focuses on.
Yeah.
That's some like post-production
Yep.
for you, which I think is
Yep.
all right in this photo too, because it keens you in on where you want to look. Here,
Oh,
here.
I think some of the newer phones have more wide open aperture type lenses in them, so that
Mhm.
might not be post production. That I think the fall off of the depth of field looks realistic enough that
Mhm.
it's probably not
be.
entirely post production.
Yep. Good point.
There wasn't any, I don't know what you mean when you say post-production, but I did
Uh,
not add blur to that. If you mean post-production within the iPhone itself, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure there was a heck of a
Yeah.
lot of that going on.
Yeah.
We're thinking of the computational stuff that phones do just because of certain limitations that they have. Typically with a portrait mode, it does subject detection and blurs the background to make it look like you've shot with a wide f-stop when it's really just selecting the subject intuitively and blurring the background.
Correct.
But I don't believe that's what happened with this.
No.
Can you explain? You don't believe that what happened where?
I don't believe the phone was doing portrait mode style subject selection and blurring the background. This looks like an appropriate fall off. This isn't any kind of critique of your shot or anything. It's just
It's a
a
computer
discussion about what the phone may or may not have done.
I think that went right over my head, darling.
That's all right. We can, if you want, I can stay on the call later. And if you're not familiar with stuff like aperture and depth of field, I can talk to you about it.
Oh, I'm most definitely familiar with those terms.
Okay.
What I'm not clear
Oh.
on is what you're saying the phone
So-
did and what I did.
So sometimes what the phone will do is like with iPhones, the first generation of the portrait mode, what it did was it would find, and it was detecting, the computer itself was detecting, this is my subject. And because it couldn't change the aperture, what it would do is it would say, this is the subject. So everything else would just automatically, they would blur it to a certain level. In the processing of the phone's computer would automatically do it to make it look more like a traditional camera shot, where is typically with an iPhone, everything would be in focus because that's the way it's designed to work. So it was something that was automatically happening in the phone itself that you had no control over. That's what I was talking about with the portrait mode.
Okay.
I think
Similar
Well,
to-
to my recollection, it
Mhm.
was portrait mode, and I opened the f-stop to the whatever it's an iPhone 13 Pro Max, and I believe I opened it up to the widest, which was probably 1 point, I don't know, maybe 8, something like that.
0.8. Yep.
Yeah. So then you did it on your own, because like I have an iPhone 10 and it doesn't allow me to do that. So the new iPhones, you can play with the actual f-stop itself, whereas my phone, it was a computer-based decision, not something that I made for a decision. So now I understand how that was captured.
And it's only in portrait mode that you can change that aperture.
Typically,
it's-
yes.
And yeah. Yeah, because I have the 11 Max Pro or Pro Max, and been playing a lot with that. It's just a beautiful capture, Marie. I just love
Awesome.
she's in focus and the unicorn's in focus, and she is so into it.
So Maria, I'd just like to know, why did you choose to shoot it in black and white? What was the reason for that?
I didn't like the colors. No, I shot it in color. I converted it to black and white.
Mhm.
It was like, what's the word I want to use? Like a cacophony, I don't know. It hurt
Is it
my
just
eyes to
clashing?
look at the colors.
I
Yeah.
gotcha. Typical children's clothing and toys, very colorful all over the place. So I was wondering if that was one of the decisions that or why you wanted to go and convert it to black and white. I think it was a great choice because it has a lot of contrast all throughout, and it really shows the detail in the picture. And I think it was a good choice.
Feel free to move on. I just wanted to participate. No need
Well,
to
It looks
chat.
great. It looks
I love
great.
it, Marie. Thank you so much for participating. I love this. It's a cute little photo, and she's just, I want to know what she's thinking.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Me
I
too.
say it every day with my son. I'm like, what is going through your little mind right now? So, well, thank you so much for participating. It's great to have you do that for your first meeting. So I give you many amends for that. Most people try to hold off for a while. So, All right, so next up is Nikki French. Oop, wrong button. Sorry, guys. I have to hit the F, not the G. What does everybody think?
Okay, this is just a still life. It's just a piece that I've had for a long time, and I just have always felt it was an intimate piece. And so I just shot it on my sofa with some black behind it. I did use some texture backgrounds in Photoshop because I wanted it to have a just a sort of old-fashioned feel to it. And I used a gradient in the camera um, on Photoshop. I went into Camera Raw and used a gradient in the shadowing because I really wanted the focus up to the heads.
The lighting looks great.
I'm
I
sorry.
agree. Ben said the lighting looks great. I agree with him.
Thank you. And what I did is I took I had 2 pieces of black foam cord and put one against the back of the sofa and one off to the side, and then put another piece on top, and then just a little bit of cardboard off to the right side, and had my light, which is right here. I don't know if you can see it. And then I put some, I had a white t-shirt and I put like 4 layers over it just so it wouldn't be too bold,
Mhm.
and shot it off from the right.
Yeah, improvised lighting modifiers, negative lighting with the black foam core. It looks great.
Thank
It
you.
does look great. I like the whole color harmony too, with the brownish base here with the darker blacker background. I think that actually looks really, really sharp and really focuses you on the subject.
Thank you. I had originally put some black on the bottom, but it just threw it off.
No, I think the right decision was to have a little bit of contrast and color there too, between the two for some separation.
I like
Yeah.
how you put the texture over it, Nikki. That looks really nice.
Thank you.
And this wood is actually really difficult because it's obviously got some sort of stain on it. So the highlights, they're really, really elegant across this. I like how you really captured those without having it being all blown out in this location. It's not blown out at all. It's really well done.
Yeah, I had angled the light in different ways before I took the picture because I wanted to make sure that it, as you said, didn't blow it out because it's got a little sheen to it. I was afraid that's what was going to happen.
Mhm.
It has a painterly effect look to it that I think works really well with the lighting. Like it looks like a natural painting would with that effect.
Sorry.
The dog likes it too.
No, my husband's walking in the house. They guard me against everyone.
Very nice.
It is very nice. I like that.
It's
Thank
very
you.
elegantly, very, very elegantly done. Great
Mhm.
job on this one, Nikki. Does anybody else have anything else for Nikki? I can't see much wrong with it, so I got nothing really else to say for myself. All right. Well, if we got nothing else for Nikki, we have one more photo. Did Sean make it on the call?
I don't think so. I haven't seen the participants change. I think it's still the same number.
All right. So Sean didn't make it on, but he said he'd watch the recording later. So last but not least is Sean Pierce. What does everyone think about Sean's photo? think first and foremost, he did a great job lighting the subject for sure.
Yeah.
I think a rim light might have been just a nice little addition, but it's not necessary with the lighting on the background.
Do you want to explain that so everyone knows what you're talking about when you say that?
So a rim light, in this case, he's got one light, let's say front left on the screen.
Yep.
He's got some light on the background, so you have separation of the subject from the background, in particular in the hair. In the right shoulder, it starts to blend. So a rim light would be a light to the subject's rear right.
Over here.
That would just be casting a little bit of light on that back shoulder to give separation from the background. Does that make sense?
Nope. I was just wanting, because so when you said that, I was wanting to make sure everyone understood what you meant by that kind of lighting, because you can see in the shoulder here that's it almost, you can see some separating a little bit, but it's very, very subtle, so it almost looks like it is blending in, and by adding that light there, it would make it look closer resemblance to the shoulder, where it would stick out a little bit more.
I would say it's not necessary, because with this photo, you have the clear point of attention, and that has adequate separation.
Yep.
But it's something to consider.
I like the catch. The eyes are tack sharp, which is awesome for this. You get these nice little catch lights right here in his eyes. Even on his face, there's nothing blown out. It's very nicely lit on this his right side, or the subject's right side, and then it's a nice shadow all the way across. Really nicely done.
I made it just in time.
Hey, there he is. We were just talking smack about you.
No, I heard.
The photo's crap.
I heard. Yeah, you're a son of a. I literally.
Sean's here, be nice.
Literally, yeah, exactly. Yeah, everybody's on your best behavior now. No, literally just walked through the door and I'm like, I guess I'll log on.
Perfect timing.
So Sean, if you didn't hear it, the only thing I was saying is a little bit of a rim light on the right side might have helped for separation, but not necessary.
Yeah, so actually this was the lack of a rim light was the result of trying a rim light and he didn't like it. So there's actually versions of something like this with a rim light, and I actually agree with them. It looks better without, in my opinion.
Yeah, sure. Otherwise, you have great lighting.
Oh yeah, the lighting is fantastic, Sean. And again, right, the most important thing is the person that you're photographing. They're the one that came in to get their photograph taken. They don't like something. You're gonna change it for them a little bit, right? They didn't like that one over the other one.
Invoiced.
Yeah, they're the ones paying for it. So you give them what they're looking for. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. So the backstory of this guy is he's a psychic medium as a job.
Oh, okay.
Whatever. I don't know if that means anything to anybody else here. It means very little to me. But this was what he wanted to use, because he does shows where he actually does readings of people and stuff. So this was, he wanted something that was really dramatic and dark, and so we did this.
I could see he looks like he's trying to read you.
The idea of the intimacy, to me, would be that he is looking straight at me, and whoever is looking at him. So as an image, he's looking right through you. And when you say that that's what he does, it kind of fits. But that's how I interpreted the intimacy is between what I'm seeing and me, instead of between two other subjects. Is that making sense?
Yeah. That was my idea behind why I used it for intimacy.
That's what I wondered.
Yeah, and it's funny because we saw Lisa's photo a little bit earlier, which had the intimacy between the two subjects that were in front of the camera, whereas this one you can interpret the other portion, the person's view, the person that's looking at them. I didn't think of it that way. That's a cool, interesting perspective there, Pat.
Yeah, I used it for this challenge because I mean, I can't help but to just look right into his eyes. You know, it has this feeling like he's sitting across the table from you in an intimate setting, which is why I went with that with this image. That and I had done nothing else, so I felt like I should participate.
And even if you shift to the left or shift to the right, he still looks like he's looking at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like the Mona Lisa.
I was gonna just say that, Sean. It's the Mona Lisa.
He would be really happy to know that I called him the Mona Lisa. He's 6'7".
Oh my God.
He's a gigantic man. And sure, he came in with his husband, and they were both very, very nice. And I went to high school with this guy. He traveled all the way from Littleton to do headshots with me, and so I appreciate that he made that trip down. But yeah, yeah, thank you. I'm happy. I'm happy with it, and so.
God, I love it, Sean. It's a great shot.
Has he done this stuff on TV?
Not that I'm aware of. No, he does like stage shows and private readings, and they have a
Okay.
store called Deep Earth Arts up in Littleton, I think. So you can go visit the store. His husband is a tarot reader and some sort of like psychic healer or something. I don't know. I can't
He
keep up.
just had a familiar look, like it was someone that we had seen on the TV with something. So it was just a question.
Yeah. No, he has that like everyman sort of face.
I like your cropping for this too. I like his arm coming down and then across here, kind of giving that bottom frame, and then this one comes back up and brings you right back into the subject. I think that's really nicely done, Sean.
Thanks. I just wish he had brought an iron for his shirt.
Hey, can't all be perfect.
Well, you figure you're gonna travel that far for a headshot, you'd iron your shirt. They showed up with like a laundry basket of clothes. Yeah,
I'm the kind of guy that grabs a wrinkled shirt too, so I kind of feel that vibe he's putting off with that.
Yeah, I brought it into like frequency separation to see if I could smooth out some of the wrinkles, and it just turned into so much work it wasn't worth it. So
yeah,
I did smooth out some, but yeah, it's just too much sometimes. What these people want me to do.
you give them the itinerary, they come in. If they don't come all the way, it's like, well, that was a choice.
Yeah, well, you know, at least throw it in the dryer for crying out loud.
That would have helped it for sure.
It's not hard.
Maybe that's part of his character. Maybe he walks around with wrinkled shirts on all the time.
Well, I think he does, but you know,
It could just be part of what he's all about, Sean.
you can if you went to his website, you would see him using this photo to promote his upcoming show, and you would think that, you know, the foot you want to put forward is your best foot, which may or may not include a wrinkled shirt. I guess I don't know.
I was gonna say his foot forward is the wrinkled shirt.
Okay, his foot is so big and he's so big that you wouldn't complain about it anyways.
Nope, not to his face. I wouldn't.
But I'm back in high school. I was hit by this guy and it hurt. And it was just a joking around, like we were hanging out, and he just like, you know, hit me in the arm, and yeah, it wasn't fun. So yeah, I'm gonna go back and rewatch I like to see what everybody else did. So sorry I was late. I had to photograph a hockey game tonight, so you know, this was the earliest I could get on.
Well, I put yours at the end specifically for that reason, because you said you'd be on later, so it was actually perfect timing. So you got to see the whole thing, and we only had 10 submissions tonight too, so you were the last one. You came in right at the right time.
Thanks for a short night.
Well, yeah, not really. I don't know. Not as short as I thought it was going to be.
Well, you know what happens is you only have the 10 images, so you don't worry so much about that 5 minutes, you know.
No, we did the 5 minutes, but then I just let everybody go on after that. I didn't stop them after 5 minutes. So no.
Yeah.
Except for me, I stopped mine early. So
yeah, he stopped his right at 5 minutes.
I know. I always did that too. You just sort of go, all right, enough blowing smoke, everybody. Let's go.
Right, moving on.
And
Does anybody have anything else for Sean before we do our little chit chat at the end?
Nope. I have nothing else for Sean.
All right. Nice job, Sean. Good work.
Hey, thanks.
All right. How do I stop this thing?
And as challenging as this was, I am amazed at the different intimacies that we
Correct.
had tonight. They were astonishing.
Yep. I think
No, it was a
everybody's
lot
was
of-
completely different.
It was a lot
Nice
of fun. We
job,
saw a lot of
everybody.
creativity with it. So, but no, awesome job. And we got a first time participant, Marie, did submitted tonight. And then we had just about everyone on the call that submitted a photo. But again, I'll upload this to the YouTube channel later this week. So Sean, you can watch the rest of it from there.
Yep.
And then you can send me the text message with all the things that are wrong with my image.
Yeah, that sounds like something I do. Yeah.
That's okay. I'm expecting it. It's all good.
I
was something
I'll just tell
I
you
tried
now
something
that
different.
it likely sucks. So, haven't even seen it. I'm just going to go with it's terrible.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, okay, Mr. Photographer of the Year, whatever.
No. I did something different. It was
Best of show. What was the big award you won from NHPPA now?
Best of
Remind
show.
everybody. Best of show, right? Okay. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure your photo's quite fine.
But so. Well,
Are
is
you going to
everybody?
Jared, are you going to
I-
conference this year?
I'm not sure if I'm going to make it or not. Unfortunately, and the reason behind that is I'm going to be working a ton, so I don't
Yeah.
believe I'll be able to make it. So maybe. So I'm going to stop recording now.